Grand Rising, I am Empress Sade El Bay, and this is the Moore's News Network. If you would like to follow us and join our group, you can find us on Telegram at the Moore's News Network. Invite link provided in the description below. And if any of the information provided in this video, past videos, or the message at the Moore's News Network resonates with you and you would like to support our mission, then please, by all means, like, share, and subscribe to our channel to get the information out there to others that may need the information that we're sharing in these critical times that we're living in today. We are live on a show that we call The Shift with Empress Adaora and Empress Phoenix Star. This is part 3 of our previous shows, in which Empress Adaora and Phoenix Star will speak about further into preparing yourself for the pole shift that's taking place on our planet. We're going to go into food, herbs, water preservation, safe locations, new updates, spiritual updates, and so much more. If you were tuned in the other day, on the Rynell show, we kind of went and broke down a little bit of some of the spiritual things that people need to think about, that's kind of going on right now as far as the spiritual shift that's happening at the same time, okay? Now, what else? Let me see here. Before we start this video, again, please like and share, subscribe to the channel. And without further ado, I would like to introduce, because Empress Adaora is not here today. We're hoping that our sister comes in today. We don't know if she is, but Empress Phoenix Star is here. Okay, and she's going to go over some things with you guys today. And Empress Phoenix Star, how are you doing today? How are you?
I'm doing great, Empress Sade. Glad to be here.
And we are so glad to have you. We went in the first episode and the second episode about a lot of good information. I received a lot of good feedback from people on different things that they're concerned about. And today, because we didn't completely finish at the last time, I think we were going through more preparedness as far as things that people need to have. And I want you to touch bases and just kind of go from whatever you really want to speak on today. I know we're going to start off with possibly, what did you say, the spiritual side, or kind of tackling that conspiracy theory, fear-mongering situation.
Oh, my goodness, yes. Oh, Empress Sade, in our time and age, everybody really have, we've had a lot of nice things that we've been able to enjoy technology-wise, everyday life and living. And now we're facing something that's not something that we normally face. And that's things such as a pole shift. Some of the things that people want us to do to our bodies, all these different things that are so entirely new from what we've experienced before. And with that comes people, we as people, we tend to want to feel comfortable. We want to feel as though there's no threat, no boogeyman. However, when in reality, when we actually look at what's going on around us, there are some threats, some serious threats. And it's so easy. I mean, it's absolutely easy for someone to say, you're fear-mongering. You know why? Because they don't want to feel uncomfortable. And not realizing that by feeling uncomfortable sometimes, make you your better self. You face something, you accomplish it, get over it, solve it, resolve it, whatever it is that it takes, and you get an inner strength from that thing that you think you're feared, you have fear of. And I mean, do you agree? I mean,
I not only agree, I would like to definitely add to that when it comes to, because I get so tired. I think I said this on the breaking news special that I'm going to put out a little bit later today, so people probably going to keep hearing this, and I'm going to keep reiterating the same thing, because when it comes to fear-mongering and conspiracy theory, and I want you to break down that information that you heard about conspiracy theory a little bit more.
Yes.
Again, but before we go there, I want to say this. When it comes to fear-mongering, a lot of times people say that because that's a way to kind of write off not only the truth, but also, if it's not just writing off the truth, it's also about trying to take you away from something that you need to be looking at. There's a difference
Right.
between fear mongering and there's another difference between being aware. And people need to be aware of their surroundings and what's going on. That could be the difference
Absolutely.
between life and death.
Absolutely. You're so right. And to piggyback on that, Empress, a lot of people don't realize where conspiracy theory even came from. And no one wants to feel duped, brainwashed, or things like that. But we are programmed. We are like you and I have mentioned. We're running programs right now in scripts. That's what we're doing as humans. And then later as we get older, we start to tear down those old programs, and we pick the ones that we want. We pick our program and we download it to ourselves, and then it's ours. It's someone didn't give it to us. Well, when you use the term conspiracy theory, you're actually running a program that was released by the CIA in 1967 when President Kennedy was assassinated. If you do a search on your own, and you better do it quick because what's going to happen is a lot of stuff that we talk about may end up off the internet. You need to do a search on Conspiracy Theory 1967 CIA. And I guarantee you it's going to pop up on some article. You have to understand, anytime something's going on in the world, there's always a counter method that's going to be implemented for you not to take action. You know what I mean by that? Empress? There has to be a way to deaden people to where they don't pursue to investigate things for themselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and definitely the same way. I think they're both synonymous with each other. I would go further to say that that conspiracy theory has been changed to fear mongering now. Like that's the new upgraded word. Like they had to get rid of that
Right.
conspiracy theory because that kind of played its course, and they know it, and it can't be used. The spell that it was casting on everybody doesn't work anymore. I
Mm-hmm.
would go in to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's right now we're in that age of Aquarius, and what that means is this is a time of revealing. And if you're still living in the Piscean age, you're not going to see the stuff that's going on in the Aquarius age. You're not lifting your vibrations enough to even see it, to see the discernment that's coming all around you right now. This is a time of discernment, revealing, and this is also the time when you identify with the slogan for the age. Now, the slogan for the age, for the Piscean age, was "I believe." I believe. I'm sorry, B-lie-hyphen-V-E. I'm sorry, I break down words to say what they really mean. But okay, I believe. Now it's supposed to be for the age of Aquarius is I know.
I know. Yeah, you got to become the knower, not the thinker.
That's right, and not the believer. You have to know now.
Yeah, you have to know now. That's correct. That's
So
absolutely correct.
absolutely, and so we have to discern in our spirit and in our soul what age are we going to be living in. If you continue with the last one that is being torn down right now, you're going to have a very difficult time. Very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
mean, people don't work like they used to. Bosses have found out you can't treat people the way you used to treat them because they're not going to show up.
that's right.
People, are exercising the rights of, what they believe. And then there's a lot of things that are being imposed upon the people that was not previously happening in the Piscean age, but they're happening now in the age of Aquarius. So we all have to do we don't have to. I'll say it like this. If you'd like to live in a more realistic world, you have to think about considering a mental shift now. Because things are not the same as they used to be, and they'll never go back to the way they were. And I'm very sorry if someone feels that I'm fear-mongering over that. But like I said, in order to grow, we have to feel uncomfortable sometimes.
And people have to know that again. It goes back to polarities again.
Yep.
You have to stay neutral. You have to stay grounded. You have to stay centered. You have
Yes.
to stay in between. You can't be too one-sided. It's almost
Yes.
like giving your child a lot of love. Sometimes they'll say, "Oh, you gave them too much love." Well, someone else would beg to differ and say, "Well, what do you mean? There's no such thing as too much love." But yes, if you do too much with your child and you're doing so much for them, next thing you know, they take you for granted.
Exactly.
So sometimes you need that balance. They also need the discipline, and we can say, say, oh, when the discipline comes, you know, when it's love, then it's God, and then when the discipline comes, it's the devil. It's all coming from the Creator. Everything that is out here in this universe is still from the Creator,
Yes,
whether even good or bad. It was all made by the Creator, and it was for us to not only have the power of choice and the power of our own will to make those choices, but to also to do the study and learn the difference between both, so we can have the right to choose. If you don't, again, if you don't know what hate is, you're not going to really know what real love is to you, will
absolutely.
resonate to you. So it's kind of like that with what's going on. That's why I don't look at things like just fear mongering and stuff. I look at this as an experiment that we're here to study, to learn, to grow, and transform. We got to pass the test. We got to graduate to move to the next level, and this is part of it.
And how will we know what the center point is if we don't know what's on the left and the right?
That's right.
You
That's
know,
right. That's right.
where's your center? Are you center right or center left, or are you actually in the center?
That's right.
Well, you know what? Speaking of which, you know, there's some things that are going on right now that people are really trying to protect themselves from certain threats. One threat is the microwaves that is going on in the air right now, and also from our phones. Remember, we were just recently talking. I think from now on, I'm going to bring up maybe one thing that people might want to consider, Empress, for themselves. I got to see if I accidentally deleted it. Okay, here it is here. This right here is from a company called Mission Darkness. And they make a lot of things to protect everyone from RF microwave frequencies, such as like the 5G, any other type of microwave, or EMPs. And it's actually military grade, which is it's really, really some serious stuff. This right here cost me only $48 from Amazon, and I actually keep my phone in this. Your phone will not be ring or anything. However, if you were to put a RF meter up to it, you wouldn't see the microwaves frequencies coming out of the bag because it blocks it.
That's interesting. That's a good find.
And they also won't be able to track exactly where you're driving. So while you're driving, it might be a good idea to put your phone in here, go to where you have to go, all the places you have to go, and then take it out whenever you feel like it. It's actually a Faraday bag. That's what it is. It actually says military grade Faraday bag.
Okay.
And this is something I highly recommend that people look into. They have other products. They have a real large bag that you can actually put your generators in, and it will be protected in a Faraday bag. I won't continue on with this, but I just want to at least introduce it to them, Empress Sade.
Thank you. I appreciate you doing that, because a lot of people don't know about this information, and that's what we're here to do, is to give information. It's for people to do their own study and research after we give this information. Okay, like, again, take what you want and leave the rest behind. So I'm so happy that you did, because it's something that I'm going to look into too, because I was looking for different bags and stuff like that as far as EMFs and radiation and things like that. So that gave me something that I'm going to look at as well. So I appreciate that.
You're very welcome. And, next time we talk, I'll bring another item that I use on a daily basis as far as RF protection, okay?
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Well, we do have a lot of information going on about the pole shift. Empress Sade and I have been talking. There's a lot of information floating around about this right now. I mean, unless we just happen to be around the people that are really talking about it, just seems like it's starting to get really flooded. But there's something that we'd like to focus on. Chris Thomas, who's over one of the main post-shift websites on the internet, and who has a very, very long history with studying this, along with Zeta Talk, that we always talk about, who we look at very highly, because they have released some very, very great information that if it doesn't help you make your mind up 100%, at least it can start you looking in the right direction.
That's right. Absolutely right.
Because he talks about elevations, different states, different areas that are considered safe, and that we're going to discuss a little bit of that today. I won't be able to cover all the places that's on this PDF. However, what I'll do is I'll get a cue from our Empress here, and I'll know when I need to stop. And there are going to be times you're going to probably see her and I discussing some of the things that we're revealing in this PDF. And if anyone's here, if you have questions, please put them in chat. And also, if someone enters and they live in a certain state, what we'll do is we'll, give you the information for that state, to help you with some things that you may want to consider for what's coming up next. Now,
I'm glad you said. Let me just say, I just want to interject just for a minute. If anyone is in, not just put them in the chat. If you want to speak direct, you will have to press, I believe it's *6 if you're on the phone, and just unmute yourself when it comes time for that. If you did not put it in the chat, you can unmute yourself, and then we'll take any questions at that time. I'm sorry, I didn't say that in the beginning, but I just want to say that.
I'm glad you did. I didn't know that. Well, there's a few things that's going to happen before this pole shift. And, it's so hard sometimes. And Empress Sade has actually stated, slow down, Phoenix. You need to talk to someone as if this is the first time that they've heard about this. And this is very true. And I've really, really taken to heart what she's saying, to actually slow down. So it's so easy for me to just speed up on this because I want to get the information out there so fast. But right now I need to really speak a little slower right now for everybody. This is a misspell. I didn't type it, but I don't care. The information is great. The Earth slows down in a rotation and actually stops right before the pole shift starts. This is what my biggest concern is because it has to deal with Nibiru that's going to be passing our Earth. During that process, this is what's going to happen is the Earth is going to slow its rotation. It's actually going to stop. Once that happens, that's a clear indicator that the pole shift is about to actually start. Now, I'll go ahead and scroll this up. I want to keep the chat box up, and I can't really lower it, but it's important for me to keep it there. This is recorded, it says, in written history, spoken in folklore, worldwide as a long day or night. I was listening to some of the Hopi prophecy today. It was precise. It was about this, about seeing the three suns in the sky and how they actually line up. And what I'm concerned about, and I'm going to share this with everybody, is when I look up at the sun right now, the sun does not look round. It looks like there's something behind it. It looks like another sun. So those three suns might actually be lined up right now. I don't know. I just know if your eyes can take it. You know what I mean, right, Empress?
Yes, because we have talked about it, and several people have said that they've seen at least two, but possibly three. It's definitely supposed to be the sun, the central sun, and
right.
Nibiru, I believe, planet Nibiru. Mm-hmm.
And
continue,
so that's a big concern. That, Empress, that's really a big concern because we don't know where we are on the timeline exactly with this.
Right. You don't, and everything's kind of a guessing game, but you can kind of tell by just staying aware of what's going on and what's around you.
Absolutely.
So you can kind of look for the warning signs. Because
right.
You're not going to know, so you have to look for the warning signs like that. La Palma, people have been speaking on that and all the different volcanoes going off and floods. It's a lot of stuff going on right now. Even comets, right? There's been a lot of comets falling.
And what about the water receding in different places right now?
Yep. In Texas, we've both seen that.
Florida. And
Florida, wow.
I can't remember. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's the thing, everyone that's listening. Empress Sade and I, on a daily basis, are constantly looking at information, and we're posting it in her Telegram group, the Moors News Network channel that's on Telegram. And by being a part of that group, you are getting so much information. I mean, about so many things that are going on in the world right now. And you're also getting a lot of spirituality input because during this time with all this pressure and stress of even dealing with this along with everything else that's going on in the world, you need something to be able to what's a good way of saying it, Empress? The
Kind of
buffer.
ground yourself, ground yourself to make you feel like focused. Because some people want to give up hope, but it's not about giving up hope. Again, it's about balance. We're looking at what's going on in the world, and we're also preparing ourselves spiritually for what's going on in the world and for what's going on in ourselves at the same time.
Absolutely. Now, in this paragraph, it also talks about lava beds. Now, we'll have this in her group. After we get through with the series, we're going to give this to everyone in the group, because someone can read this and actually get so scared. But I'm taking it in small chunks because I promised Empress Sade that I would break this down to the simplest, so that way people aren't fearful. We're going to interject and give you some buffer in between the things that we're talking about. I think that's the best bet. Now, they have also mentioned the history of the Atlantic and also the Pacific Oceans, how things have happened in the past. It says it right here. The shorelines of both sides of the Atlantic have been dragged down such that remains of forest that the remains of a forest can be seen underwater. So at one time, the oceans that you're looking at right now, the land was above water. At one time, it wasn't water, but it was. We keep thinking that everything's split. In some cases, it may not have split. It may have just sunk.
Exactly. They
right?
say that there is no split. It was more sunken. Everything is still connected.
Yes.
Everything's still connected. It's just water in between.
Yeah, the plates, right? The
Right.
actual plates.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now we have a lot of things that are going on. The red dust, you actually see that right now. Inhale. This is actually going on right now.
Could you explain to people what the red dust inhale?
Yeah, it's sulfur oxide from the red planet, from Nibiru.
Okay, and it's coming from Nibiru down to here.
Down to the Earth.
Mm-hmm. And what does it do? Like, could you explain? Do you know?
I don't know all the full contents. The components of the sulfur oxide. But what I'll do, guys, please search it.
Yeah, please do that.
Please search it, and what I'll do is I'll search it too, and I'll make sure that I come back with an answer. But I know it's supposed to be toxic in the air. Well, let's see the dust with red. Let's see what it says here. It occurs less than 24 hours and most likely less than 12 hours. This depends on a number of factors, including how well the dust drops through the atmosphere to be deposited on land, where very first evidence will be closely watched for and thus observed. In one location, the first sign of the dust may be 18 hours ahead of the shift, and it's in the air. It's in the clouds. You see that reddish color in the clouds? That's what you see. And all run in panic to shelters. Okay. And it says in another location, dust may not be noticed until heavy, perhaps 6 hours ahead of the ship. A good time to head for the shelters in any case. Okay. Now this is something here that I probably want to read. The tail sweep will then proceed from red dust to hailstones, just ahead of the shift. So that's going to be a sign we're going to have to look for, Empress.
Okay.
A normal roof would protect from the hailstones, which would be like the hail experienced during violent windstorms, where hail of ice falls and ruins crops. Okay. Now this is, you got it. Okay. Now this part right here is dealing with the pole shift itself. I know a lot of people are like, what exactly is the pole shift? I know some people are reading ahead, and I'm glad you are. There is a great deal of tension that builds between the crust of the Earth and the core of the Earth during the week of the rotation stoppage. This tension is released when the core of the Earth breaks with the crust and moves. That's when it shifts. It's going to rotate 90 degrees during that time. However, the core of the Earth drags the crust with it. The pole shift is therefore sudden, taking place in what seems to be minutes to humans involved in the drama, but which actually takes place during the better part of an hour. Isn't that interesting?
It is very interesting. I hope people are really paying attention to this. Keep reading, Empress. At least this particular section, because this is the main thing.
Yeah, this is important. There are stages between which the human spectators in shock or numb, and we're trying to stop that now by educating, as much as we can.
Exactly.
You're right, Empress. But I mean, I still am going to be in shock. Okay, but at least I know what's going on.
Right. You're the knower.
Yeah,
You're
we're the
being the
knowers
knower.
now. We're moving to the
Hmm.
knower stage. At first, there is a vibration of sorts, a jiggling, as the crust separates in various places from the core. Keep that in mind, guys. And then there is a slide where the crust is dragged over minutes to a new location along with the core. During the slide, tidal waves move over the earth along the coastlines, as the water is not attached and can move independently. The water tends to stay where it is, the crust moves under it, essentially. When the core finds itself aligned, it churns, yeah, it does say churns, about somewhat, settling, but the crust, more solid and in motion, proceeds on. This is a fact where mountain building, let me stop right there. That's when mountains are building and raising up higher and getting higher, and massive
Exactly.
earthquakes occur just as car crashes do their damage on the point of impact, then motion must stop. You want to talk about that a
Okay.
little bit?
Yeah, because this is telling you some of the warning signs again to look out, and it's real important that you pay attention to this because this is also is going to help you with picking your location.
Right.
And once you start understanding the warning signs, like what Empress Phoenix starts reading to you today, that is going to help you with your search and your study, where you can kind of start narrowing down, like, I don't want to be by the coast, I don't want to be here, I want to be here. And this just
Right.
gives you a lot of stuff that you really need to pay attention to when doing that research. That's what I want to say. Is there anything that you want to go into a little
I
bit
would
about what
only
you just read?
I would only piggyback on what you just said, and like you said, that they wanted to figure out what safe locations they want to be at. As you just found out, some of these mountains are going to be building. You don't want to be on one of those mountains. You know, you don't want to even be near them, and you got to be careful. You don't want to be near volcanoes. Do you guys realize how many volcanoes are inactive in the United States that they never talk about? I took the time out to go to Wikipedia, and I put volcanoes in United States. You need to go look at that. They're in a lot of states. If you're in California, that whole ridge is practically volcanoes. Okay, I mean there are volcanoes where you least expect them to be.
Exactly.
I would highly recommend people do that. That would tell you not to be in those areas. Because it's listed by state, Empress.
Right. And let me say this: most volcanoes are, people don't people don't look at mountains and volcanoes of being the same
Right,
thing.
right.
A lot of mountains, what you call mountains, are just dormant volcanoes.
Absolutely.
So you gotta know this, and that's why doing the research and doing the study is so important. And this is just like basic information that we were taught in school, whether it was elementary school and so forth. And this is not to make someone feel bad because they don't remember, or maybe they
Right,
were not good in that area at that time.
right,
However, if you're grown or close to grown, and you have a family that you're looking out for and yourself, this is the time to start doing that research and that study, and getting brushed back up on some of the things that you may have known and may have forgotten from when you were younger.
right.
Continue, Empress.
Exactly. And plus a lot of things have happened in our lives where we forget those things. All the stresses of life. Now this is another concern. Now, along with the pole shift, I want everybody to understand this. Before the pole shift, there's going to be some serious storms. Now, what Chris Thomas has recommended are trenches, or something underground, to be able to sustain it. Now, there are some things that people can do, like for example, if let's just say hypothetically, if I have a trailer, a camper, and a truck, I need to figure out a way to have it where that camper and truck has dirt on both sides,
Right.
and have
Hmm.
something over the top of it and some sandbags. But I have to make it where I don't drown and it doesn't fill up with water where I'm at. So
Hmm.
so I have to figure out a way to do that. Or whoever has a trailer, a camper, or a truck that they feel that they're going to be able to drive afterwards, or try to drive afterwards, We have to secure our cars. Otherwise, if we only secure ourselves, everything else is going to be gone.
Exactly.
Even our homes.
Mhm.
So at least if I will say this, if there are people that are listening to this that can build, that are excavators, because right now a lot of people of us are going to need excavators, people that can do some major digging. No matter what state you're in, we would love it if you put it in the comments of this video.
Mhm.
And if you want to do some free advertisement for your company, I don't think Empress would mind. You might want to put your company name or something. We're going to need people in the community to be able to help each other and barter. Because we may not have money after this, guys.
Yeah, you're right, and it's the truth be told, it's not going to be as important. A
Nope.
lot of that stuff is that fiat that you have in your pocket will be worthless, and the things that you're going to be needing to barter and trade with, if it's not goods and some type of products, then it's going to be services, and it's going to be your talents
Yes.
and the skill set that you have. That's why it's very important right now to learn a skill set, whatever that you can pick up that can help you, because that's what we used to do before. This is nothing new. Like they say, it's nothing new under the sun. This is what
Absolutely.
our ancestors used to do anyway. It was about bartering and trading and providing services through our skill sets. A lot of people don't have skill sets anymore, and was solely based on just the tech generation, especially the latest generations of people on the earth that's now having these jobs out here. It's been like a lot of tech going on, or business associated type of jobs, and you didn't have to have the skill set needed to do things that would be about creation, and like when it comes to building a home. It's okay to be a plumber, an electrician. It's okay to learn how to make clothes and to
Mm-hmm.
make food,
Make
to
food.
make medicines and stuff like that. This is the time where a lot of those home skills that people used to kind of make fun of, those homemakers. This is the time for a lot of those skills and other skill sets, carpentry and stuff, are going to come in
Ooh,
handy.
carpentry especially. Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
Hey, Empress, can I pay you about make at least 3 meals for you for dinner if you would help me wash the clothes that I have?
Right.
Give me one. Come on, Empress. Let's challenge ourselves. Let's give them some examples so they understand exactly what we're talking about.
Well, I might say, hey, I have these medicines that I made from herbs that I will grow in my garden. If you, and you're a good gardener, if you can give me, 10 bags of potatoes, because I need potatoes, for, what I need to do. Or could you, how to fix a car? Could you come and fix this, whatever type of car or whatever vehicle that because some people may still have some. I've seen people convert some of their cars that are
Mm-hmm.
not using gas, so they won't have to worry about it because gas will be obsolete. So, but some people are using it, actually doing firewood and coal and different other materials, and you still may need someone to work on that vehicle. Or your house, and so you may trade. I have medicines that I created in my mason jars that I put up, and I need you to come and look at this, pipe, that I have that's busted in my home.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just different things like that
Empress,
that's
my
gonna come in
baby's
handy.
sick, and you have herbs. What can I give you or barter with you to help my baby drink some of those that herb tea that you got to make people feel better?
Right. See, just like that, and then it's easy. If you have gold and silver, that's always still going to be the case.
Yep.
So people will take gold and silver. People will take, if you have what's going to be handy? Alcohol. I'm talking about not just rubbing. I'm talking about drinking alcohol as well, because you can also use that for multiple different things. And someone
Female
may say, hey,
products.
I'll give you herbs for this bottle of alcohol.
I'll give you some female products if you help me wash these clothes.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know what, this is actually, to be honest with you, I actually the bartering system sounds pretty good to me. It really does. It resonates with me. And the reason
Mm,
why is because we're going to get back to that time that people are doing for each one another.
that's right.
You don't have that status thing anymore. Oh, I wash more clothes than you. Oh, yeah, right. Okay, okay, okay. Now that person, we'll just have to push it aside. But
Right,
but
and the ego is out the window. You can
yeah,
forget about that ego. You're gonna be very
ego.
humble.
Isn't that right? Ego is not going to exist. Your
Okay.
car you driving and the nails you flaunting right now, or the nice haircut you got right now, it's not going to matter. And by the way, if you cut your mane, your strength, people are going to look at you a little funny out there, because most people are going to go back to, who am I? What am I really without the TV, without the
Mhm.
shows, without the rappers or the celebrities? Who am I really? Who am I when I can't find makeup to wear? Who am I when I can't find a perm?
Right.
We're
Mhm.
getting ready to go back to who we are, and I know that's going to be frightening with some people, Empress, because some of us have put our whole identity on something that's not even us.
That's true. Exactly.
You know, but
This is definitely that shadow work.
yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, the reason why we're going all these different ways, everyone, is because we're trying to really slow down and take a realistic look about how things are going to be, and we want to share that with you, because some people are really disillusioned on how this is going to be. You might see someone screaming that they just lost their house. You might have to take them in, and they might have to say, well, I don't have anything, but if there's anything around your place that I can help you with, like help you clean, or help you wash clothes, or take care of the kids, I will do that. So
Yeah.
we're going to have that giving heart and spirit again. It's going to have to come back. And those that decide not to be that way, they may perish.
Yeah. And you know something, it's not, this is not, let's go back to the fear mongering again. This is not a fear mongering. This is not
No,
even a bad thing. Actually, you got to tear down the old to bring something new. And a lot of people that
right.
I speak with, a lot of people that are on these different platforms, everybody's so, happy when it comes to the 5D earth and talking about ascension. And they're so happy to do that, but they're not also looking at, we're going to be doing a lot of rebuilding. And this is the rebuilding phase. So this is a natural occurrence. When things are destroyed, it gives way for the new to come in, and this is going to be part of the new, and it's going to be about love and compassion. I mean, those are going to be the people that are going to make it, and that's going to survive those times. It's going to be more about community, and it's going to bring us back again to, like I said, about how our ancestors were. So it's nothing new. It's in you. It's in your blood, and it's just going to be brought right back out. Exactly. And I see you got it on the next step, because we're going through different things to look for the different signs of when the shift happens. I didn't see that you actually moved it on up, but
Oh
I
yeah,
do see that.
as
Could you
soon as
go into that?
sister, I'm moving it up. All right, during the shift, the atmosphere of the Earth does several things all at once. Now, y'all check this out. It drags along with the Earth. It moves as a mass pushing on air in other places. Thus, even in those places on the Earth which are not moving during the shift, being
Hmm.
pivoted points, the air is turbulent. It swirls as circular motion in air masses. Is the response to conflicting forces, as seen in the circular motion of tornadoes and hurricanes. One should not assume or force the winds above what the Earth experiences today. Your hurricanes and typhoons represent what occurs when air masses attempt to move against each other, given their density and gravity attraction and inertia. These same factors are in places. These same factors are in place, are predominant during the pole shift. Stay below the Earth's surface. Now that's what we were talking about before. Lie low and tie down everything you wish to find when it's over. See, that's what I was talking about. He mentioned
Hmm.
about those trenches that they used to use
Okay.
before World War II.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
If someone has an underground shelter that you can drive into, you got it made.
Yeah.
And to believe it or not, Empress, this is not far-fetched. There are people that work hard every day that may not know anything about this pole shift coming up that are excavators. Excavators are going to be so important. They're important right now. You know, and if, like I said, if there's an excavator, you could be making a business right now, because I might be calling you, or Empress might be. We might have some land that we just moved on. We need some trees cleared, and we need to hook up an underground shelter and help us dig it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you got your friends that know how to do some concrete or whatever you use over there. This is when we should be doing this. This should be like this all hands down, everybody. These other people have underground cities, guys.
Yeah, and the people that are not in the cities, they have underground condos. I mean,
Yep.
that was a big thing in these last few years.
Yeah. But right now, we should be actually helping each other right now, but most of us are too stuck into the 3D world of materialism that we don't see it. I think we, just like when I grew up in the East Bay, and I was in the service, and I went over to Sicily, and the Nimitz bridge, I mean the bridge, what bridge was it? San Francisco Bridge? Nimitz
Mhm.
Bridge? I can't remember right now because I was overseas kind of, and I'm old. But anyway, that bridge went down and collapsed. Do you know Oakland, California came together? Oakland, California had not came together like they did. They were helping each other, get stuff from between that bridge from all the news that I was watching from overseas. It's going to take a catastrophe sometimes to bring people together,
You're right.
you know.
You're
Now,
right.
now earthquakes. Now keep in mind, we already mentioned flooding. We already mentioned hurricanes, torrential rains, and this is not going to be like rain like what we're seeing right now. It's going to be like those clips that you see now where places are flooded. Now, on top of it, you're going to have earthquakes. This is why a safe location is so important, and we're going to get to that. We're going to start getting to those. Um, Look at this flood tide. Look at all this stuff I could go through. You want me to just summarize this for everybody?
Yeah, go through the earthquakes because this is real important because we've seen some, but I've heard like they can get way stronger than what we've ever recorded. So
They will be.
I
They
go
will.
through that a little bit.
Okay. You know what? You just let me know how much time I have for the video because I think all of this is really important. These are the things that I don't think people consider, man. I really don't think so.
Okay.
Tearing of continents. Did you hear what I said, guys? I'll repeat that again. Tearing of continents is less traumatic than it would seem to humans. Who imagine a continent as one plate and think of how lumber resists being torn. Metal bends and twists before tearing, and rope fibers resist while the fibers snap one by one. Continents are, in fact, an overlay of many plates, and faults. Now, see, that's the thing. That's the scary part right there, the faults, are where most of the plates have fractured in the same place. The continents are attached because some of the plates have not fractured. That's where you want to be at, is where they haven't fractured. It's a steady, solid rock. Okay,
Mhm.
I just wanted to say that. I want to say,
Okay.
Okay, where did I?
Thus ripping right after. Plates have not fractured. Thus ripping apart of continents is no more traumatic
Oh, the
than
sea of lava.
you see it?
You see that?
Where's that at?
The
Oh
sea of
yeah, I see it. Sea of lava. Uh-huh.
Because see, there's lava under a lot of the land. People don't realize that. Solid land is composed to be a great degree from the higher elements, which rose to the top during the early cooling of planet Earth and thus formed the floating crust. Okay. This is something that we were talking about earlier is the mountain building. That's a scary, to me, the earthquakes aren't as scary as the mountain building because earthquakes normally, they can go move in a wave and they can move side by side, up there, But when it comes to mountain building, you can shoot way up. You may shoot up like 500 feet.
Oh, your phone is kind of breaking up, but I do kind of hear you. Can you say it again?
Okay, you got
There you
one
are.
part of land, one part of land that's at the top. You have another one that's on the bottom. it goes underneath it and can move it up, move the other one up in the air. In other words, mountain building means that the mountain is getting higher and higher and higher. Or two masses of earth are crashing together and they're moving upward to build a mountain, not upward, but one goes over the top, one goes over the other and builds a mountain. In other words, you're going to gain elevation with it, and it's crumbling underneath you at the same time. You don't want to
Right.
be mountains you just do not want to be on. I hope I'm explaining it the best I can to where people understand what I mean. And
Right.
you know what I mean.
Yeah, my question is because even with that, because some people say, "Hey, go to the mountains. You want to get to high elevation." That's only when the water comes. But since no one knows exactly what's happening first, it's kind of hard to say, okay, where to really go. And that's why I'm glad you're here to explain this to people.
Well,
So,
you want to go to high elevation, but there's certain places, those safe places that have hard rock that's not building a mountain.
okay.
Like the Missouri Ozarks was one of those, and it's not the only one, but that's one of the largest ones that people refer to because it's solid rock. It's going to be flooded all the way around it, but because of the New Madrid, where the Missouri River goes, it's going to be all flooded in that area. But long as that, I mean, some of those elevations in the Missouri Ozarks over 1,000 feet above sea level.
Now, good question though, and I'm hoping I'm not putting the cart before the horse. Because we still have to, we went through the earthquake, but we kind of briefly went over it, and they were talking about having earthquakes being like 12 point whatever or so forth type of earthquakes. Now, when you're dealing with something that strong, and you're talking about the Madrid, because that's right in between us, where the Missouri and Illinois. Is that going to be something of an issue? Do you remember Chris speaking on any of this from the information that you have looked up and studied about the Madrid and how that is going to affect the Ozark and the solid rock?
I'm going to have to check with Chris about it, but I do recall him stressing about there shouldn't be any mountain building, and I'll have to check with Chris in reference of the earthquake.
The earthquakes.
I don't think the earthquake is something that we can actually run from. Because
no, it's going to happen. But I've seen some stuff where if have you seen? I don't know if you looked this up, but I've seen stuff where they said, depending on the earthquakes, it will shake and it shake the ground, and it makes the ground kind of turn into like quicksand. I've seen like a car being halfway stuck in the
That's why they were
in the ground.
the Missouri Ozarks was an older rock and was more stable, and some of it will turn to quicksand because some of the land in the United States is from volcanoes.
Right.
And so that's why he always mentioned rock. It's called the Missouri Ozark Plateau, and it goes in Oklahoma and also in Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? And the beautiful thing about this, you have made me, just by asking me to be here, and I just want to thank you. You have helped me to be able to understand a lot of things more. It's easy to come in here and just briefly go over it, even though it looks like I'm just briefly going over it to other people. I have actually learned so much more about this, by someone asking me, hey, would you like to show us about this? And I just want to thank you because it's also
no problem.
by helping you guys.
Right.
It really means a lot to me because this really is where I live. I just want the audience to know that where I live is going to be flooded completely. I just found out that the school where I live at today, because I'm talking to people that are from here. I'm not from this particular area. I was born in this area, but not from the current place that I live at now. I just found out that one of the schools in my neighborhood is actually on water. And that they have to keep reconstructing the bottom of the school because of the water that's constantly flowing under it. Did you hear what I said?
Yeah.
So I found this out today. Where I live
wow.
right now, you better believe it's going to be flooded.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't mind sharing this information because you guys, and if someone asks a question, you help me and also Empress Sade to be able to look at angles that we may not even think of. And I'm glad she's asking me questions because if I don't know, I'm going to tell you I don't know. And I will research it And I'll get with Empress Sade and we'll discuss it together, what I find. And, I know how proactive she is. She will even look it up too. And we'll get together, and what we'll do is we'll present to you what we find out.
That's right. And, I'm glad you brought that up about the water. And I appreciate you being here just as well as you appreciate me. Believe me, I appreciate you being here, giving this information, because people just did not know about it. And even if some people just never heard of it, and even if they have, they didn't have a lot of information or not thinking that it's something that could even happen now. So it's good that we're having these talks so they can actually get it in their head. But it was something else that you brought up. You said the water under the school. When I was on Telegram, somebody was talking about how they live in Texas, and they were saying about how there's a lot of drilling going on, and she can hear drilling underneath her house, and there's a lot of tunnels and stuff underneath her house, and she was nervous about that, her house could cave in and stuff. So going back to what you were saying about getting somewhere solid and a solid rock.
Yes, because where I live at, they've been, it's called land rep. There's a program out here where they're actually taking the land from people because they want to. There are old mines out here and they're underground, and a person can buy some land and they not realize that they have a mine under them, and the government can come and actually take that land from them because they want to continue to dig and see what's in there. This is what's going away, guys. This vampiric, I'll say it that way, vampiric mentality has to cease. Because this is what's destroying not only the earth, it's also destroying us as far as relating with each other. That mentality has been on this earth for a while now. And, with us going back to nature and going back to communities like we used to be, like what I saw in the 70s, I actually saw serious communities in the 70s. I saw people knocking on doors. Baby, you got some? Yeah, I got some. Don't worry about it. I'll come back for some flour next week,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's how we were. That's how our communities were back then. Don't worry, I'll take care of the kids going to work. I heard that they called you in and you didn't know you had to go. Your baby be all right. She's going to eat. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's how we have to get back to. It's me, my eye, and pulling up to McDonald's. No, somebody's going to be cooking some child some meal. It may not be you. It may be somebody you can trust while you go pick the crops out in the field, because you're going to need people to watch the kids in the communities. You're going to need people to watch kids because adults might want to go pick the food.
Mm-hmm.
While the kids are playing or singing or in school, someone's going to have to teach them. Someone's going to have to deliver babies, be a doula. We need all these people that got fired out of the hospitals and the dentistry. We need you. We need you in these communities. You're going to be appreciated. If you weren't appreciated where you were last working or quit or was fired from, you're going to be appreciated in these particular communities because we're going to need you.
Absolutely.
Right, man?
Absolutely.
Let me know if I get too far off, but I want to go back to this unless you have something else.
No, go ahead. Go back to this because it's important just to get. We never talked about all the different things that in the different signs, so it's important that we get through this part.
Okay. Now this is the part that you were just mentioning. This crinkling represents the pressure and release, which can result in violent jerking and upheavals, sometimes snapping to create new cliffs or jutting rocks. Those riding on the upper plate during this movement will be headed skyward and dashed with scarcely a safe place to cling to. Subduction can release pressure by pushing flakes of land that separate from the lower stratus forward. This thrust can be sudden and projectile, with the rock flake then crashing down again. Pressure release can also create crumpling land where such activity is not expected. Compressed rock can also drive horizontally into nearby soil or space not occupied by anything as dense as itself. Thus, those in a valley can find rock shooting out of a hillside. Did you see that?
No, I definitely see it.
Rock spears shooting under their feet unexpectedly. Surviving the mountain building process while in the mountains is precarious and not advised. Now, not all. Chris has stated this, and I think I'll have to find the video for it here, but he stressed that he was showing mountains that were still mounting buildings. He was showing ones that weren't. Now, yes, we are relying on someone a lot, but the thing is we still have to use our own discernment, and we still have to listen to our own guide, our personal guide inside of ourselves. But at least someone's giving us something to go off of. You follow what I mean? I mean,
Exactly. No, exactly. It gives you a starting point and
right,
where to look into.
right. Now this is one of my nicknames. I hate to see that it's up here. Firestorms. During the Comet's passage. Now this is something. Let's get back to Nibiru. See, I like that this is talking about Nibiru. During the Comet's passage, there is such an onslaught on the Earth's upper atmosphere that the available oxygen in places is completely consumed. Now, this part I didn't know about. Heated gas in the comet's tail form petrochemicals due to the flashes of lightning and intense heat due to passage over open volcanoes, and open petrocarbons rain down, a sheet of flame falling to Earth. Did you see the thing that was posted in your group? There's actually some of the petrol being falling out of the sky right now.
Right now, yes. That's what I was saying, something about the comets and stuff. It was some that was in a couple, I forget what states.
You know, I don't think those comets. I think those are the fireballs that are falling off in Nibiru.
It could easily be.
I mean, I'm not an expert, but I do know that that planet's on fire, and I do know that there's times when you see it, it'll look like flames in the sky. That's lava. It's like lava.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and so I don't know. I just don't know. You know, I'm not an expert, guys. I'm just giving an opinion, and you know what? I'm glad I have one. At least I'm not. You know, it's just something to start with. Okay, it's something to start with. This type of activity sets forests afire. Where vegetation regrows from seed and roots, many areas will nevertheless be denuded. That's not a word I use often. Of vegetation for some time. It'll be like the La Palma. Like, for example, where La Palma is, where all that lava is, they won't be able to grow there for many years.
Right. And that makes sense. It has to take some time.
Yeah, because it's scorched, ashes. I mean, it hasn't turned to soil. Now, this is important. Any other questions? Any comments you have, ma'am, on the firestorms and the?
You know what? I want to keep it going. Unless someone else has a question, I haven't seen any in the chat yet or anything. Again, you can press *6 if you're on the phone, or you can unmute yourself if you're on a computer if you have any questions right now. But we're going to continue on unless someone says they have a question.
You got it. Okay. During a pole shift, the ocean as a whole is on the move because it stays behind while the crust moves, and thus rolls up on land onto the coastline, being pulled under it. And this is really horrible if anything happens with La Palma turning it into Sami, because that earth right now is already soaked from the rains it's already gotten. And if you turn around and you have Sami on the East Coast, that's more water. And then this happened. Oh my God! You see what I'm saying? It would just be permanently flooded over. It's going to be permanently flooded.
Yeah, and you know what? I think if you did any research on what happens when you see like something like a tsunami happens, and you know, I believe you should would figure out that it's going to flood, and it's going to be flooded, and it's going to be like that for a while. It's not going to just go down because it's so much water that happens at that time.
Yeah. You know, and can we at least bring this up to everybody? Everybody on the East Coast and also in the Gulf of New Mexico should actually have a place to go that's high elevation at least. Or at least they said 100 miles. I would say even further than that. I would go even more inland. Have a place to go for safety in case La Palma develops into a tsunami. At least have a backup plan. You know, because and you can't take anything in your house. You might as well just go. I mean, I mean, even I might have to just leave all my possessions behind just to be safe. You know, I hate to say that, But as I mentioned to our Empress here, Sade, that this is also the age of detachment. This is the age of detaching from things that we've been holding on to in order to survive right now. You know, I'd rather not sit in my house and say I don't want to leave my house because I love my house, and then meanwhile there's a tidal wave coming. I mean, really?
Right. Oh no, absolutely. Again, you can always build again, but you can't get another you. So that's very
Exactly.
important. And Empress, I'm gonna have you keep going. I'm gonna do something right quick, but you just
Okay, go for it. Okay. This is a flood tide, with the lip of the water being its highest point, rising like a silent tide, endlessly on the rise, the wave rolling inland, excuse me, inland, without a crashing back and forth, just a steady, progressive inundation. To those at the mercy of such a flood tide, their first thought is to climb above the tide. Soon they are standing on the highest point they can reach, and still the water, excuse me, flowing inland steadily rises. Afloat on a boat or flotsam. Hey, greetings, whoever just came, and they will be dragged inland to the flow until reverse slosh begins. The water flowing back into its bed, but in the nature of water during the slosh, overshooting the other side, so that both sides of the ocean experience this flood tide. Alternately, it's so hard for me to talk tonight for some reason. For some days until the monumentum diminishes. When the flood tides recedes, those afloat are in danger of being dragged far out to sea with the flow, as the water will rush its beds unevenly, more rapidly, where it can recede the fastest. Well, that water is going to actually come in and it's going to actually go back out, basically. So it can push things forward, and as it goes back out to sea, it can actually pull things back. Um, Not a good
Okay.
sight. That's why we say that try to look for safe locations, high elevation, not near volcanoes. Um, after all of this is said and done, they mentioned about 750 feet above sea level is like the minimum that you would want to be at.
750 feet. Okay, I thought it
That's
was lower
minimum.
than that. Okay,
Minimum. I'm talking about when
minimum.
everything's all said and done, because Empress, there's one thing that they're talking pole shift, but there's other things that happen after the pole shift.
After the pole shift, right?
Poles are going to melt. The south,
Mhm.
they're going to melt, so that's going to be more water. You know,
Okay.
so that's why a lot of people are going to Missouri Ozarks, is because you can really get some very high um, altitude, sea level. Now, worst case scenario, you're on the top of the Missouri Ozarks. I would say everybody build a boat. While you're up there and everything's settled, start building boats. Why do I say that? If it floods as high as you are, at least you're in something. Because that would be a slower flood. You know what I mean? After all the swishing and all that's done, once the poles start to melt, that's going to be more water that you have to worry about, because people are going to be migrating, because they're going to be
Right.
in one spot. It's okay for a while. They're starting to see water, so they're going to start migrating somewhere else.
Mhm. Right, and that's definitely going to be like a great migration afterwards. You're going to be seeing a lot of people afterwards trying to move around and look for somewhere where
Right.
they can, start another community.
And
Okay.
one thing I can say is be very careful where the Kansas City, Missouri line is, because there are a lot of nuclear power plants that are in Kansas, across from Kansas City, and that is going to come downstream in the water. So be very careful. One thing that you can get is, oh God, I'll have to find it. I'll have to
I know
find
iodine.
Yeah, iodine. I have those tablets, because the first thing that goes with radiation is your thyroid gland,
Mhm.
and that helps to protect you. Thank you so much, Empress. That actually helps you protect your iodide. Iodide, is it? It's not
Iodine. Iodine.
iodine. Yeah, iodine. Yeah, I have those tablets, and I had forgot why I bought them, and then I started reading about the whole ship, and I was like, oh yeah.
Right. It's just so much information. You'll get stuff, and in the beginning, you'll have everything and just don't know you have it because you're just taking in so much information.
And guys, that's what's going to happen. Okay, where tidal waves meet waves meet mountains. This is important. Can result in the tidal bore up ravines. Okay, now I'm gonna have to figure this out with you. Where tidal waves flow inland, this results in a flood tide going hundreds of miles inland. Okay, where
Hmm.
the Atlantic widens and tears apart the North American continent along what is already her seaway, there will be more places for the water to pool than water available. And this will cause a rushing toward this part of the globe by water gathered at the poles. Now, remember I said the poles are going to melt. There will be a temporary lowering of water in the Indian Ocean, which will draw water from where it has gathered in the South Pole. Where the Pacific shortens dramatically, the water in the Pacific will find its bowl suddenly smaller and will rise along shores on both sides. Given the size of this ocean and the ability of her waters to rush over low-flying areas in Central America or around Australia, tidal waves along the Pacific coast are not substantially larger than along other coasts. There's going to be water everywhere. Parts of India is going, the southern part of India is going to be destroyed, and about half of Australia is going to be underwater. Because
Right.
pole shift, some of the land is gaining altitude. I believe New Zealand is
Hmm.
going to gain altitude, and Australia in some places is going to lose altitude.
Yeah, they're going to gain altitude, like you said. There's going to be a lot more footage too. Land footage.
Yes.
And then yeah, some of them are just losing it. Okay.
Right.
Hmm.
Did someone just enter the group? I didn't know if it was Adaora.
I didn't see. I seen someone here, and they might have got cut off, but if it's her, she knows how to unmute herself, just in
Okay.
case she does come in.
Okay. Just looking out for it, Um, we don't have to go through these, but this is just giving you an idea of scripted drama. Um, this is like seeing different things that can happen, like as the South Pole gripped by the passing North Pole of the 12th planet moves north, the crust is torn from the core and freed in this way allows pre-existing stress points to relax. Thus, Europe and Africa move further east along the Atlantic to rip apart during the slide northward. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, and let me say this to people: this stuff that has happened, that we're talking about, that's happened before, and
Yeah.
we've made it through before other pole shifts that's happened. This is nothing new.
Nope.
This is a natural occurrence that happened. So, and people knew what to do back then, and the information were kind of taken from us, but now it's brought back, and this is the information.
Exactly. And the thing is that this is why everyone keeps saying get back into nature. There was a time when we could read nature. There was a time when nature communicated to us to let us know what we needed to do. That's kind of hard to imagine. We have all this technology around us, but just remember, everything technology-wise is imitating real life.
Right.
I'll
That's right.
repeat, I'll repeat that again. Everything technical, and even Empress agrees, everything technical and right around you right now, if you look around your room, everything around you is imitating something natural, and all we're doing is just using something artificial. For example, we're all on the internet. We may get to the time that we don't even have to call each other like we used to before we had all this technology. I could think about Empress Sade, and she would call me.
Mhm.
Okay, that's our internet. And by us having this internet, it has stopped us from developing some of the things that we either had or either things we were supposed to get. So we are getting ready to see what this body computer can do, what technology is behind this body computer we have, because our senses have been deadened by the
You're right.
artificial technology that we're using today.
And look, it kind of takes this for that to pop on. Like once this
Yep.
happens, that's going to pop on. And you continue. I'm gonna have to do something right quick. So keep going.
Okay. Now, this is all from Zeta Talk. We'll make sure we leave the link here. We want to make sure that we have to give them props to this information that we're covering right now. They have given this out freely for a while. As you can see on this here, if someone was in the room right now from Africa, I would be able to go to one of the countries in Africa and actually, discuss The things like, for example, look at this. Look at that. Canary Islands just happen to be there. Isn't that interesting? Right now, we're seeing that volcano go off. Um, this is interesting because it's saying it's going to have a lot of waves. Now, they do state here that this is a human theory and observe. Okay, they were talking about something about the Canary Islands collapse into the water upon a quake, creating tsunami. See, they don't believe that a landslide in the water will create not a force of water moving across the ocean, but a void causing water to fill that void. Oh, look at that. I didn't even know that was there. I didn't read about Canary Islands. So, there's more than one scenario that they feel that will, that people feel that's going to happen with the Canary Islands. Even nobody knows. Man can turn around and, sorry about that. Man can turn around and interfere with it, but, that's on them. Man or entity or whatever, that's something they can do. I'm going to go ahead and excuse my screen for scrolling. I really apologize, but I have a lot of countries on here. So if we have some international people, we might just be able to give you some information on it if it's listed. If not, I need for you to go to Chris Thomas's Surviving the Pole -Shift Telegram group. We are highly advertising him. No, we're not affiliated with him in any kind of professional way. However, I am in his group, and he's given me a great head start to be able to have my mind wrap around what's going on here. And it's actually given me the confidence to come in here and actually talk about it. But if anybody has any questions, let me know. I'm looking in chat. I don't see anything yet. So we even have...
No, you can continue to keep going.
Okay. I'm still scrolling down. I'm just showing them all the different things. I have to go through that just to, get to it. Now, the United States is going to go through quite a bit, guys. I'm telling you right now. There's part of the United States that we have right now that's not going to be here. We're going to talk a lot about the United States. One thing I can do, I can go towards the West Coast, or I can just talk about states. I think right now I want to talk about states because some people are like, well, what about me? What about me? And they're right. What about them? We're going to help them. I'll talk more about, I'll go back up to the West Coast. Any questions or anything you'd like to add, Empress?
Well, no, something, I want you to go into the West Coast so they can just see about it overall. Okay. Because the main things people are going to be worried about is West Coast, East Coast, and probably where the Mississippi River and that fault line is, because we know that if you looked at that map, if anyone has ever seen the new map that's supposed to be split, right?
Yeah.
You have that with you? That map?
You talking about the Navy map or the other one?
Either one, the Navy map or whichever, because there's a few different maps.
I can pull that up real quick. The Navy map, I can pull that up.
Okay.
I mean, I have it on my computer, but it would take me too long to find it. Navy, it's called Navy Flood Map, everyone. So just go Navy Flood Map, and it should come up, and it's right here.
See, now, pay attention. Let me see.
Okay, there we go.
There we go. You see, if you guys can look, you see right where it parts right through the middle. That's all of Illinois, and I'm in Illinois, so I'm looking to get out of there. That's part of Illinois, Indiana, and this.
We're both in flood zones.
Yeah, we're both in a complete flood zone. And let me say this, it can vary from this map. It doesn't necessarily have to be specifically from this map. This is just to give you a general idea, because you have to understand, everybody's kind of trying to make predictions. No one has been through this before. I don't care how smart they are,
right?
how much knowledge that they have in what areas and what fields. They can only give you just a hypothesis of what they believe that's going to happen just based on the information that they have at hand. But they've never been through this before. So believe me, there's going to be a lot of factors that they just don't know about, that they can't take in mind when doing this. So this is some of the best maps that we have. So pay attention to this. Like, again, this is going to give you a reference point.
Yes.
And so you can go from that point. Continue, Empress. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. No, you're 100% correct. And to piggyback on what you said, We're not even trying to say it's going to be exactly like what we're showing you, but this is all we have right now. This is decades worth of research that we have for you, and that's all we have to go on. But we still have to use our own discernment, and you have to ask yourself inside what makes you feel comfortable, because sometimes your intuition will tell you, advise you at the same time, even though this says one thing, but in the end, and when it comes to the end, a decision has to be made, and if it's not made, and you're in an area that looks blue right now, that you see on here, there's a possibility you'll be underwater. I'm not fear-mongering. There comes a time when we have to face our fears, because a person that constantly says fear-mongering may just be someone that's not used to facing their fears. And I hate to say that like that, but the empowerment you get from facing your fears, the power you get when you face it and you overcome it, there's no words to describe it. This is one of those things where you take the blue pill or you take the red pill. Right, Empress? It's just
yes.
You take the red pill or the blue pill. This is
the fork in the road.
What's that, ma'am? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was saying it's the fork in the road. Is either you're gonna decide to continue to be asleep, or wake up and like I tell people all the time, this is me personally. Everybody got to make their own choices, right? Everybody's making their own choices and what resonates with them. But me personally, I would give me the ugly truth instead of telling me a beautiful lie. I would take the ugly truth besides a beautiful lie every day. Exactly. Any day of the week. So, but that's me. Some people want to get the
lie.
Yeah, they want the lie because it makes them feel better on the inside, and mainly because you said people are scared of change, but people also are scared of responsibility. No one wants to take responsibility for their actions. It's easier for them to blame, quote unquote, the government and all these other things that are going on. So you can have something to blame for the reason why you didn't take action, for the reason you didn't do something about it and be proactive and preventive.
Exactly.
And so it would be easier just to do that instead of you to look in yourself and just go back to the shadow work and say, I could have did something. What could I have done better? What could I have done to save me, help my family, my children, and my loved ones and friends that don't even know this information, but you got a piece of the information and you're still not doing anything about
it. Exactly. Well, something, the people that really need to be worried right now, it's not the everyday person or the person that's looking into this that should be worried. It's the people that are users. Now let me hit on this for a second. A user, someone that loves to use people and think everybody got to cater to them and all of that, you're not going to last in a situation like this. I just have to address this. Anyone that feels that they're self-entitled, that, high-value person, that things got to, come to them because of who they are, this is not going to go this way. You're going to have to eventually ask yourself, can I come from my heart? Can I trust my heart and do some sort of shadow work? And I'll let Empress, it's because we keep mentioning that, and you might want to know what that is. I'm going to let Empress Sade let you know what that is, but you really need to come from your heart chakra, because that's how society is going to be. What can I do for you? Is there something I can do for you? I'm hungry. Is there something I can do for you to get something to eat if you don't have food? This is what this is coming down to, guys. I'm just trying to give you reality so so you really understand. Or hey, I need to get something from point A to point B, but I see that you have a horse and a wagon. Can you help me? Yes, you can help me. Well, what can I give you? And I'm not talking about sex and all of that. No, I'm just going to come out and say it. People are going to be looking for food. People are going to be looking for people to wash clothes. People are going to be looking for people to sew clothes if they got holes in them. People are going to be looking for clothes. People are going to be looking for some alcohol. If you're someone that don't drink alcohol, buy alcohol, because you won't drink it and you can barter with it. If you don't smoke cigarettes, a good thing to do is buy cigarettes, because you may be able to barter for cigarettes. Someone might do something really big for you just for a couple of cigarettes, because they won't be able to buy any, okay? But Empress, I'll turn it back to you. I just wanted to say that because a lot of people may not realize the little small things that they can barter with during these times that are coming up.
Yeah, and I mean, just going back to what you just stated, as far as the shadow work, and that really has to deal with all of your inner trauma, the things that you did not, was not able to work out, and whether it's this lifetime or past lifetimes, you're looking at your karmic baggage and things that have to deal with you. This, it still goes back to your growth process, your transformation, and you're graduating to each level. I explained this before. I think it might have been in that 5D is here
Yes.
video. I stated that each density, because there's a difference between density and dimension, but each density has many levels in it. Like if it was a video game or a book, it has different chapters. So in order to graduate that one density, you have to go through so many chapters. Okay, you can't say you read a book unless you fully read the book all the way. You can't know exactly what's going to go happen at the end of the movie unless you watch the whole movie. So that's kind of what's going on with the different densities, and where everybody's striving to get to 5D, but you still have to get to 3D and go through 4D to get to 5D. You still have to go through those chapters of the book to get there, and part of that is going through the darkest, deepest side and parts of you that you don't want to talk about, that you want to hide under the rock. That goes back into that fear mongering, dealing with why you don't want to take responsibility for your life and your actions, and why you would rather blame someone else than to look in the mirror. This is the shadow work is a big wake-up call, and it's about you looking at yourself and knowing your faults, but given a chance to not only forgive yourself, but love yourself, be okay with those faults, and move forward. And move forward. It's time to move on and move past that. And it's going to be a lot of shadow work. It's going to be a lot of deep, dark, emotional things that you have went through that will come up in the times of chaos. That's a lot of times when that comes up. A lot of times when chaos happens, that's when everybody is calling for God and religion becomes a factor and people come together. It always takes those tragedies to happen. And like I said before, Empress, and we talked about this before, pressure is going to either bust pipes or it's going to form diamonds.
I love that saying.
Yes, Empress, it is right now. It's that fork in the road. Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to let this information that we give you bust pipes and you're going to just freak out, stress out, lower your, when you do that, you're going to lower your vibration so you're not getting to where you need to be. Preparedness, only through preparedness, getting yourself mentally prepared, spiritually prepared, physically prepared, emotionally prepared, that is going to help you to continue to maintain, stay neutral, stay calm, so you can focus on what do I do at this moment when there's something coming. Okay, there's a crisis going on. What do I do in this moment?
Absolutely.
Besides panic. Anything else but besides panic, okay? Because that's what's going to happen if you're not prepared. The first thing you're going to do is panic. So we want to move you past that.
We really do, guys. We really do. I want to piggyback on something she said. She was saying that, you have to deal with those things that you haven't dealt with. I'll give everybody homework tonight that would like to accept it, that would like to at least start their shadow work. If they don't know what it is or have never done it before, take one trauma that you had experienced in your lifetime, whether you were a child, whether you were a teenager, whether you were an adult. Take just one trauma that you stuff down and don't never want to talk to anybody about it. Grab yourself a journal and write what happened in that. If you cry during the time you're writing that trauma down, that is healing. Let it out. If you have to stop writing and cry and bawl like a baby, if you have to roll up in a tight little ball on your bed and cry and whimper, let it out. That is facing your shadow. After you get through that process and you actually finish writing that thing out, I want you to look at it. And then I want you to say, okay, from where I stand now today, what is my intention as far as handling this? In other words, say you went through a particular thing and it made you fearful. It made you scared of men, scared of women, scared of something. The intention would be something like, this is just an example, you'd have to make your own. My intention is to have overcame. In other words, you're saying that it's already taken place, that I have overcame situations like this and the ways that it made me feel. Or I know now, the person I am now, I am stronger. My intention is to remain strong as I am now, that I'm able to face this. And you can write multiple intentions on, you have to claim it, not I will try. No, try is not a word that you use in an intention. I became, you're claiming it. You're claiming it. If you don't feel that comfortable, just say, I am in progress of overcoming this. If you feel that you know what I mean, if you still feel something, but once you write your intentions down, let that particular, someone taught me this, Isis taught me this, take that problem, imagine a box in front of you, stuff that box, that problem that you, or that tragic thing that you experienced, place it in that box, okay? Now this is the part that I added to it. As that box is lifting up and going into the universe, I want you to feel every single root of that problem come out of every cell in your body, come out of the roots of it in your legs, your knees, everything, your feet, your arms, wherever you feel that particular energy is at. Imagine like long, big old, long tentacles coming out of your body, and it's going up in the air with that box. With every single resonance of, every single thing about that problem is up in that box, and it's going up into the sky. You no longer possess it in your body. And then move on to the next thing in shadow work that was a tragedy to you, or a problem. If you know you have a problem with pride or ego, make sure that you write that. You know if you have a problem with pride. You know if you're a user. Right now, you have a decision to better yourself to get into the 5D, because to be in 5D, you have to have compassion and love and harmony. If you don't have those things, they say, and I'll say it that way, it'll be a little difficult to get there because you're too dense. So when we talk about spiritual things, and when Empress Sade talks about spiritual things, honestly, guys, when I listen to her talk, she's talking from her heart. She wants you to be able to uplift yourself, so that way you can develop into the person that you want to be, or that you may need to be to go to the next phase. Empress, you have anything you want to say about that?
I think you said it best. Everything that you said is on point. And this is where we're trying to get you guys to focus on. Again, we're talking about multiple things when it comes to the shift. This is our portion. We just want to, let you guys know, since you guys are going to be dealing with so many different shifts. It's the physical shift that's going on, but it's the spiritual shift as well.
Right.
And she said it so eloquently. We could continue from where you left off on. I see you got the West Coast up, so you could continue on.
Oh, I'm up on it. I already did the subject. I said it, and I'm gone. All right, the West Coast of the U.S. in general will suffer an onslaught of changes during the pole shift, and those living there need to consider not only each and every onslaught, but the combined effect. Okay, here we go, guys. First, because the Pacific will shorten the subducting plates, will shorten, and subducting plates will be forced under the coastal plate. Remember I was saying how land will go under land? That's kind of like it. Suddenly and forcibly, heating of the superstrata will occur to an astonishing degree. The rock will actually melt in low-lying places. Thus, valleys over subducting plates are out. Then the tidal waves will assault where the coastline does not offer an outlet for the water. It will climb up. As it has nowhere else to go. Thus, hills and mountain ranges close to the coast are out. When they say out, that means they're going to be gone, guys. Then there are the high winds or hurricane force, which will occur worldwide, and that is going to happen worldwide. So a safe spot must include being out of the valleys, but also out of the wind. Then, due to the earthquakes, which will be severe on the significant fault lines that crisscross the west coast of the U.S. Mountain building will occur, which can result in the collapse of caves, even in the granite, and rending apart of the rock. Yosemite stands as an example of what can happen. And lastly, forest fires caused by exploding volcanoes. See, this is what Empress was talking about. Sparks and lightning storms, or perhaps the firestorms that can occur anywhere during the shift, will eliminate the forest as a shelter. And that would be one of the first places someone on the West Coast would want to go, would be the forest. I can actually see that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You have anything you want to add, Empress?
No. Continue on. You're doing a great job.
Okay. California anticipates being inundated due to the very famous Edgar Cayce predictions along with those lines. The state is large, so the many problems befalling it do not necessarily spell disaster for any given family. The major cities along the coast will experience a devastation due to the earthquakes and be unlivable afterwards. Guys, remember that. Okay. Highly industrialized area will find their surroundings befouled as a result of the quakes. Reliant on piped water, I would have said reliancy, but anyway, those in the desert will find themselves without clean water as the ocean inundates inland valleys. The long-term danger in riding out the shift in California or life afterwards will be from living near or atop plate boundaries, which will be resting for hundreds of years after the shift. The volcanoes along these boundaries, even those in Alaska, will waft their volcanic dust along the new prevailing westerlies, which will move them down along the coast in the direction of the east coast, of the new east. Yeah, there's going to be a new east because we're shifting 90 degrees. That's probably why they said new east. Thus, fishing along the coast will be the best option for survivors who can return to the coast after the tidal waves have settled. So it's like saying, after everything is settled, you can go back there. The mountains and everything will be resting. So it's saying, and there will be, you will be able to fish and whatever is left there, you'll be able to live off the land from then on. But the coastal part itself, from the predictions that I've seen, are definitely going to be underwater. So it's going to be a new coast, you know.
Okay.
In California.
Mm.
Anything you want to add, Empress?
Well, you know what? The confusion a lot of times that people have seen, because some people have heard, I mean, just throughout the years, you've always heard like, oh, California is going to be underwater and Florida is going to be underwater. And it's like the whole state is going to be underwater. Now, from what...
Look at that. Look at that. And part of California is not even there anymore.
Oh, wow. I see. Is that a drop of California towards the top? It's kind of little, so I can't really see.
Okay.
Is there a way for you to blow it up?
Yeah, let me do this like this. I have it. Is this what? Wait, hold on. I think I can find it. I have a folder. Okay, let's do this. Okay, you're up one more level. There it is. Did I put that there? I have the different map. Doggone it. This is the same thing, but it just looks different. You see it?
Yeah, I see it. It's pretty big too. So,
okay.
Can you explain this map?
Yeah. Okay. Let me show you guys the ledger first, because the last time we talked about this, I misunderstood one of the ledgers. Anything that's blue is flooding. Anything that looks like this is volcanic ash. So let's look and find. Hold on. Let's do this. Okay. Let's do that. Can y'all see that better?
Yeah, I can definitely see it.
Okay. Volcanic ash would be over this way. You see that? That's volcanic ash. Look at this. Okay, let's talk about California. Let me move this out the way. This right here is volcanic ash.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay. Now let's go through this. Let's talk about California. Let's look at the ledger. Flooding. It looks like blue water. That's it right here. Look.
Okay.
All of that is going to be gone. Y'all see that?
Mhm.
Okay. Then we're going to go to warning zone. Warning zone means you may not be able to live there. I mean, you may not survive there. Okay, now look at that. It's the whole state of California is really going to go through some major stuff, guys. And see, these, I believe these are the fault, some of the fault lines. I got to check. Danger zone. Yeah, that's it. That all of this is a danger zone. All of that is a danger zone. And those look like where mountains are. Like you see there, there's some mountains there.
Mhm.
There's probably that's where they might be talking about the mountain building might be going on. You know, I think it's a good idea to do this like this. Have this particular map because it's bigger and you can see these different things here. This legend. Safe zone. Okay, now I just y'all look where these safe zones are. That was California. Okay, y'all saw that. The red is danger. This is warning. This right here is the mountain building.
And
And
ash.
this water here, and ash, yeah, oh yeah, ash. And this right here is the flooding. Okay, everybody see that? You see that right
Mhm.
now?
Mhm.
Okay. Now, we're going to talk about some of these safe locations as we get to them. But you got to remember, there is a volcano right there. Is that Yellowstone?
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
that's a super volcano for those that don't know.
Buddy. Okay, now you see, remember I was saying up north there are some places, you know,
Mhm.
you have to be careful about the water here though, but there are some safe places up here. There's a safe place here. That's north, that's Michigan, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
Michigan. Mhm.
Up in the northern part. He said the only thing you have to worry about up there would be the water. He said don't be too close to the water. There are some safe places. Look at that. And these are the Ozark area. Okay. And right here.
Now that's interesting. I'm looking. If you look in the map, go over to where you see maybe Kansas would be and
Yes.
all the area. You see that it's in the middle of the map.
Oops.
Is not.
Here, I'm gonna put enlarge it.
It's kind of bluish. So is that showing that it's going to be flooding, but just not
There's going to
major
be
flooding? All of that's going to be flooded.
there's going to be water where the New Madrid is. Hold on. Let me go back out. There's going to be water. You look at this. This is all water. All of this
That's
is
what I
going to
want to
be
make sure.
flooded.
Okay.
The only thing that's not going to flood is the exception of the Missouri Ozarks because it's up higher. It's a higher elevation. A lot of this is flat land. A lot of this is farming land in this area
Okay.
here. That's what I found out. I was like, how in the world? How come it looks like it's all covered? And then I looked and I did a flood map. There is a such thing. Oh, guys, let me show you something. There's a such thing as a flood map. Another flood map. Flood. And this goes along with looking at different places. Is this it? No. Oh God, I hope I can find it for you guys real quick. Here it is. On this map here, you can actually go to this map. This right here is showing you 400 meters. Now you have to do a conversion. If everything was flooded 400 meters, this is how the world would look.
Okay. Now, what can you tell? You can tell the flood from the darker
From
color.
the
Is that the darker? Is that a blue or grayish? I can't really tell.
it's blue. It's this. Oh, here I can make this bigger too. Hold on. And this is important because this is like what we're talking about. Oh, okay. Things don't never want to act right when you're trying to. But anyway, hold on. I know how to do this. It's so weird how this happens. There we go. Okay, I think it has something to do with being on the app. You know what I mean? Okay. Okay, one thing I want to show you is this. This is something that everybody needs to know. And I'll do is I'll make sure you get the link for this so you can put it in the description. Let's say, I think it was 300, no, 200. I'm going to show you how to use this map. 200 meters, 2 feet. We're going to change, convert that. So this little thing comes up here. 200 meters equals this. Now remember, Chris was saying 750, right? So let's see what that map is going to look like. Okay, 200. I have to turn that to 250. Okay, let's change that to 250. That's 800, so it's not even that. Let's see, 225. That's good enough. Well, 230. Okay, that's good enough. Golly, you see that? Okay, here we go. Okay. 2, 4, 2, 35. Okay, that's good enough because we said 750, so we'll say 770. So I'm going to go back to this map, flood map, and I'm going to put 220. Now I'm going to go set. This is what the world would look like at what Chris told us as far as flooding. This is approximately, it's about a little bit over 750. And that's
Okay.
about right. See, this is the Missouri Ozarks right here. It might be a little bit more though, because from what I'm seeing, it's not, the water's not going up. Oh yeah, no, that's right. It's there. There it is. It is there. So that's about what Chris is predicting. Now, you know, some of this land is not going to exist, but you can see how California would look if it was 750 above sea level, how it would actually look. See that?
Yeah, I see it.
And then you can see how it affects like Texas. You can see how there's certain places people need to understand has a great possibility of being underwater. This right here can happen from La Palma on this side. It wouldn't be as far in, but this whole entire area would be affected by if La Palma's tidal wave happened.
Okay.
But this gives you a good indicator on how the world would look if the flood went like Zeta Talk said it would. This is
Could you move in a little bit closer? I want to see something because that's kind of weird right there. They have little pieces up here that is not flooded.
Because it's a higher elevation, sweetheart.
Mm.
So wherever you see that's not flooded, it's a higher elevation than here. That's what I was saying. A lot of this area is flat because you grow a lot of food in places like Ohio and Missouri and all those places. These places are flat.
Okay.
Now the thing you have to worry about is in this area, this right here is where the nuclear power plants are. And see, this right here can easily flood more, but see, as you can see right there, there's water right there.
Right.
And
okay.
he even told me that even areas like this have a high probability of flooding as well. But the Missouri Ozarks is right here. And as you can see, here's Springfield. This little part down here is Arkansas, isn't it? Yeah. Because Arkansas is right underneath Springfield. Yeah. Because, I mean, the Ozarks over in this way. But yeah, you can actually see what's going to flood. All of that will be flooded. Any questions about that, Empress dear?
No, not really. We'll just have to go to that. What's that? Flood map. If you want to give them the website for that, so they can do their own research.
Yeah, flood map elevations.
Flood map elevations. Okay.
What I'll do is hold on. What I'll do is I'll since I can't this whole page is just like locked for some reason. But what I'll do is I'll go back here. Here it is. It's called Flood Map Elevation Map C. So what I'll do is it's called floodmap.net. floodmap.net.
Flood. You know what? You could, if you send that to me, I'll put that into the description when we put this out for everyone, so they can go there themselves and do their own research.
Yeah, so they'll have this. And this way, just remember everyone, use the 750 or higher, because that is what's projected, 750. So, but you have to consider that there's going to be water coming in, hopefully not from both sides, but it could happen with the earthquakes and everything that's going on. So you want to find yourself in a good high elevation, that you can, because no one knows how high the tidal waves and all that. Because that water has to come in, and then it has to go back out to sea.
Right.
So we just don't know. This is what we've been advised. I'll put it that way.
Right.
So this way it can give you an insight on what you feel you need to do. Okay. And how are we on time now? Because the West Coast is very important, and we did just cover mountain building, ash possibilities, the volcano, Yellowstone is right there, the flooding that's going to take place. We talked about the floods that's going to happen, the firestorms that can happen from Nibiru that will be coming down. We also discussed the earthquakes that can happen. We discussed a lot, even just getting to California, because, and look at us, there's even more. If you want, I can go through this and we can check.
Yeah, go through this. We're probably going to be wrapping it up in another maybe about 15, 20 minutes. Go through what you can, because then what we'll do is wherever you left off, we'll continue on that one for the next time. Like I said, this is a series, so.
Yeah, okay, great. All right then, Cali, knowing this is where I grew up, with Cali, East Bay, living in OBC. So it really hurts me to see this happen. I mean, I grew up in the Bay Area, not too far, right in Richmond. I know people like Richmond. Okay, Oaktown. You know where Oakland is. So that's my old stomping grounds. All right, here we go. Let's talk about what's going to happen in Cali. As California's geographical attest, I'm going to take my glasses off, it's blurry, has often been trapped in the inland valleys behind the mountain barriers along the coast and slowly drained. During the compression of the Pacific water will wash over these mountains. Guys, there's nothing but mountains down there. These ravines are foothills where the ravines or foothills allow the press of water tidal bore and push up the rivers to flood the inland valleys, which will become an immense floodplain. After the shift, survivors afloat will paddle about in desperation, as rescue by man will not be forthcoming. The valleys will not drain for some years. By then, afloat with the dead bodies of those who were trapped there, man and beast alike will find themselves squeezed into the mountains to the east, where they will encounter stark desert landscapes poorly suited to supporting hunger survivors. In the North California, why did I say northern, becomes or about forest land and foothills or mountains, which offer some safety to those scrambling there from the coast or from farmland valleys that will be inundated. As with the area's danger from forests set afire from falling firestorms or deluges, running waters and forced down ravines exist. Yosemite bears witness to the force of solid rock is subjected to during pole shifts, twisting and pressure upward on one end of the rock strata, while pressure downward is applied on the other end. Oh my God! Such that solid rock snaps, creating cliffs thousands of feet high. The Sierras show many such scars from the not distant past, as when subduction of plates under California occur. This area is crinkled and compressed. Remember we was talking about that, how that mountain forming, all that stuff happens. Yeah, there it is there. This pole shift will be no different, as the compression of the Pacific will be immense. Thus, such sudden changes in the strata can be expected. Wow. Now that's California in its totality. We can address, the next series we can talk about San Diego. It's specifically, now we're getting to locations, but we needed to go over the prelude of stuff, the different things that, weather conditions that they would be facing. Everybody would be facing.
Right. Okay.
So I think we did really good. Look like we'll be able to knock out some California places the next show. After then, we have Arizona coming up, and then, so we'll be, unless we have visitors that ask for a specific place, then we can address those for them if you like.
Right. Well, yeah, that map did wonders, and we definitely will address that next time. Is there anything else that you would like to share? Because I know we don't want to get too deep into the places because that's going to take more time, and we're wrapping it up now.
Right.
But is there any simple things that you still would like to share with people before we go for today?
There's one thing I'd like to stress is start looking at Lead Farmers 73 on YouTube. I mean, I highly admire this man. I mean, he goes out of his way to review products for survival, and he really, really has some good ideas. He showed us a rocket stove. Excuse me. Keep in mind, we may not have electricity, and
right.
If they have those days of darkness that they keep talking about, we may not have solar, and I have solar. Okay, so the only thing left will be propane and wood. So as a backup, okay, here I'm gonna show you something. As a backup, I'm gonna show you something that I got. I would say as a backup, you might want to consider something like this, because we're talking about light and we're talking about food. Okay, so these are things to consider. Yeah, I do want to bring this up. I definitely want to bring this up. Okay, so we're going to go to orders. I'm going to see the kind of stuff I order. It might be right here. Okay, this right here are solar lanterns. Okay, there's things you can buy. I would say get yourself an atlas. You're going to need an atlas anyway. You're going to need
most definitely. I'm glad you brought that up. Atlas and a compass.
And a compass.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I got some gadgets to show them next week. I'll show them a couple of gadgets that have that things are more than one thing. Like it can be a compass and it could be a fire starter all at the same time that you wear on your wrist. I mean, I like.
Oh, good. Okay.
So stuff like that. I'm gonna show them some gadgets. The men will love them. The girls will be like, "Hey, that's pretty cool. I can keep that in my purse." You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, oh, that's cute. Instead of her having all these large tools, she could have a pouch that has multiple tools that have multiple things like
functions. Right.
Yeah, the fork may also open a can.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. I am really fired up to show them stuff like that. That I really am. This right here, I'm going to show one more item that I think people would like if they're going to go the camping route. Rocket stove, STOVE. It's not.
And I'm glad you said that because I went and got a rocket stove myself.
Oh.
And an oven. A rocket stove in the oven. Mm-hmm.
I don't see the one I just bought.
You may have to pull it up. Can you pull? You got to make sure you bought it because sometimes that'll happen.
I bought it. It's here in the house. I got it. But sometimes what they do, they only sell so many, and then they change the link. Rocket. They do that. That happened with me with my solar thing. It's blue. It's a blue one. Here it is right here.
That one? Mm.
Yep, it's not too expensive. Look at that. Last purchase. You can even see when I last purchased it. This little thing here is so cute. I'm gonna do this. Look at this. Look at that cute little thing.
And I can actually hear it this time a little bit. Yeah.
Good. And you don't need a lot of wood.
Right. That's the whole purpose of the rocket stove is you can use less wood, but it still does what it needs to do.
Exactly. And another thing too, here I'll turn this down. We really don't need the sound. The good thing about this one is that you're able to put a large skillet or pot over it. So if you want to distill water, if you have a distiller, you would be able to distill your water there if you didn't have like a propane stove like in a camper or something. So this is definitely something that you could use.
Absolutely. People, you have to understand a lot of the stuff that you have that is convenient for you right now, you won't have. You won't have, gas. You won't have even propane. Eventually, all that runs out. So the only thing that you'll be left is with solar. And if you have any problems with solar, you still have to go back to, nature and go back to wood and, things of that nature. So this is something definitely you will want to have as a part of, your preparedness kit. Rocket stove is definitely something key. It's heat. It's like you said, distills water and sterilizes water. It gives you warm water for bathing and
Everything.
yeah,
Clothes.
washing clothes and stuff like that. And like I said, it's light. It's light because it's almost like a candle. So it does so much for you. That's one of the top things that I would think of to have on the list, especially if you talk about no electricity, no gas, no propane.
Exactly. And look at the price. It's really not that bad.
Could you repeat that? It's kind of small.
It's $119.95, and it's on Prime, and you can get it delivered to you right away.
You know what, guys? You may want to do stuff while you can because we're going through. It's already inflated. I remember when that one was a little bit cheaper, just probably about a couple months ago, and now it is 119, which is still not bad. But they're expecting hyperinflation to come in the next, maybe even in the next month or a couple months. So you just never know. So if you can, if you have the means, by all means, get it. While you can, while it's still affordable.
Actually, and you know what, also, Empress, when we really think about it, these people are talking about changing over to free energy. Remember, we were just reading on that, and there might be a blackout with power anyway in the next, probably within the next 30 days from the stuff we've read. We don't really know, everyone, please don't hold us to this, but we read so much information that, we keep track of it, and, we often share it with you. I know her news review that she did just recently, you might want to go to it. Some of the dates have passed, and her and I discussed this, but some of those dates haven't passed yet.
Exactly. You're exactly right. And, we stay abreast of all the situations just to, make sure that, again, it's about, preventive and staying prepared and being proactive. Some people don't like to hear this information right now, and they solely want to just think about your just the spiritual side. But again, we're having balance. We're talking about everything. We don't cut anything out. There's no filters, okay? We're not here to be your parents and filter things from you. I think the media and the powers that thought they were has done enough by hiding the truth from you guys. I don't want to be that. I don't want anyone else that comes on this channel or go to the Moors News Network to be that filter. It's for you to filter and take away what you want from it. So I'm here to give you, like I said, straight truth. You know what I mean?
He does.
Just no filters, no chasers, no nothing. I'm giving to you exactly how it's come to me. I'm going to give it to you, and then you take it from there.
There was one more thing I wanted to mention because you said no filters, and I wanted to say one little thing, and then I think I'm done. I promise. I try, Empress.
No, go ahead. No, absolutely, definitely. It's all important. So
you see underneath the chat window, you see baking soda, right? Those big boxes of baking soda that I have in my cart. Guys, if stuff hit the fan, and with the parasites that they have, I don't need to go into details, but there's a lot of parasites and a lot of things right now in the air and all kinds of stuff and heavy metals. You can take a shower with baking soda, and you can get a lot of those things out of your skin. Okay? You can use that as soap. You can use that to scrub your body with. Most people soak with it, but say you don't have a bathtub, and I do have a solution for that, by the way. A bathtub that you can actually just step into, that you actually use a hand pump to actually pump up. It's really cool. So I'll show you that too, Empress.
Good. Okay.
But yeah, all these bugs that they have and all these parasites that are in the air, the last thing you want is to be in a situation where you have those parasites crawling under your skin. So one thing you can use is baking soda. One thing I will attest to, make sure you wash your face and your neck with it good, because those will be the type of places that are the most exposed. For the last 2 weeks, I mixed up a essential oil mixture that I have. I mean, I took like
Mhm.
several different oils, and I took one that was actually, it was called thieves oil. It's an essential oil, and it's several different oils in it. And it's really interesting how they came up with the name thieves oil, and I want everybody to know about this. You can even make your own. Thieves oil, okay, during the Black Plague, a lot of people died. It's very interesting. If you look at the plagues, it was always something 20. It was like never mind, I'm not going to go there. But anyway, these people used to rob the cemetery graves. And people didn't understand. Everybody's dying from this. How come the people that are grave robbing not dying? They were using thieves oil.
Right.
So go to Etsy. I bought some from Etsy because I had never heard of it before. I know it has clove and quite a few other ones. Some of you guys that have an arsenal of essential oils, you can actually make your own. I would highly recommend to research that. I use the thieves oil. I use peppermint oil. I'm thinking of everything a parasite wouldn't want. Another thing parasites don't like is, and this is a tincture that you can take, is sweet wormwood. Do not use just regular wormwood because it has some toxins in it that can harm you if you overuse it. So sweet wormwood is the one that they make absinthe with, and so that's one that they actually use that's food grade. But I use a little bit of that. I use some oregano oil, which burns. Everybody that knows about that, it really burns. But I mixed all these oils together. I can't think of the other. Oh, garlic. I even put garlic tincture in it. And I use that on my face, and it doesn't smell bad. All you smell is the thieves oil because I smell cloves and all of that. And it burns my face, but my face has cleared up and gotten so smooth by doing that, by washing my face with either a baking soda soap or that baking soda, and then put something like that on your face to shield your face from the elements, because there's a lot of things flying in the air that you do not want to, I'll say it this way, burrow into your skin. And so that might be a thing you might want to consider for those that aren't wearing face makeup. You can actually use some of the essential oils to protect your skin right now at a time like now.
Right.
And but that was it basically. And I'll be here. You have me again. I'll be here to cover some places in California and Arizona next time I come. And I'll have some handy little gadgets for them, and I'll give them at least 2 prep items like I just did tonight.
Oh, perfect. Oh, well, once again, thank you so much, Empress Phoenix Star, for coming in. Again, Adaora could not make it for this time, so hopefully we'll be able to get her back for the
Right.
next show. But you did an amazing job.
Thank you.
Especially doing it mainly by yourself. I know I'm here by your side to do what I do, but you did an amazing job. We do want to have you back. We do want to have you give this information. It's very important that we, try to get as much preparedness as we can, because eventually anybody that's interested in really going forward and doing more and are not talking about what they want to do, really ready to take action like we just talked about, you will be able to reach out to us, and we're going to be talking a little bit more privately. This information, it's not really private information. A lot of this stuff people know, some things you may not know, but this is not private information. Eventually we're going to get to the point where it's going to be those meetings, and they're going to start happening rather soon, so you may want to catch up. If you did not see the first or second video, you may want to go ahead and do that so you can kind of catch up, if you're just seeing this third video right now, to what's going on, and to gain the knowledge that Empress has learned through her years, and the knowledge that I've learned through my years as well, because it's going to be spread out in this series. So again, I just want to thank you and give high honors to Empress Phoenix Star for coming on today. Absolutely, Empress, this was amazing information as usual. As usual. And And I want to say to everybody out there, please, again, do the research. It's very important for you to do the research, do the study. And, we would definitely, I just want to thank you guys for tuning in. And we definitely want to see you next time on the Moors News Network. Again, this show is called The Shift with Empress Adaora and Phoenix Star. So until next time, I bid you a good day. Peace, love, and grand rising to all the indigenous heirs. Ashe.
Ashe.